Hello and welcome to my studio. My name is Sylvain Rochon from HomeStudioLogic.com. And today I want to give you a little trick that I'm using to make your life easier when you're at the mastering process. And this doesn't take long. It's not going to be a very long video, but this is necessary because I'm going to explain to you why. First, let me talk about what's going on when you're a mastering session. Mastering session, first of all, is you're bouncing your mix into a stereo wave file, and you're starting a new session, and you're raising the level of that song to bring it to commercial levels, low. So minus 14 and louder. So getting my drift. Some professional mixers are actually, depending on the song type, they will actually master at minus 6. So you have to make sure that when you do increase the level of your song, that you don't get surprises. So around 4 years ago, because I started mixing 6 years ago, I was in that situation. I was doing mixes, and when I was going to my mastering session and put a limiter on and increase the level, I got surprises. And when I'm talking about surprises, I'm talking about bad frequencies coming out of my mix, like maybe harshness, maybe there's too much air and it's squeaking, or the low end is becoming like boomy, or there's boxiness. You understand, if you know how the frequency spectrum works, you actually are understanding what I'm talking about, where something is popping up. Now you put an EQ on your song, and you EQ everything up. But the issue you're having is that when you do your EQ moves, let's say that maybe there's harshness in the vocals, you're not only EQing the vocals, you're EQing the total mix. So what you do, you go back to your mixing session, you fix that, then you bounce it, you bring your new bounce to your mastering session, and you start all over again. And if it's not good, then you understand you're doing this. So you want to make sure that when you do bounce your song, and because you say, "Oh, I'm happy with the mix, and it's time to master it," that when you go into your mastering session, you've got just maybe a few EQ moves to do, not that much, and maybe a bit of compression. Maybe you want to improve the stereo image. Maybe you want to do some gain automation to maybe when you go to your chorus, you want it to have an impact. So technically what you're doing, you're bringing color to your song. If you want to get to that spot without going back and forth between your mix and your mastering session, I'll show you how you can do that very easily. So first of all, this is one of my new songs, and I'm going to make you listen to it as is right now, and then I'll show you what I do to make sure that when I go to my mastering session, I won't do the back and forth between the two sessions.
I'm so scared.
So you can hear that this song is probably balanced. The tone of everything is at the right place. Well, according to my ears, you might feel different listening to this, but according to my ear, I'm happy. When I listen to this song, well, this is a one little tip that I'm going to give you, because the most challenging part of mixing a song is to tell yourself, I'm done. When do you know you're done? Well, first of all, listen to your body. When you're listening to your song and you're moving, you're dancing, or maybe you get goosebumps, or even if it's a slow song, you start to cry because, yeah, that's me. Yeah, I get emotional when I have a song that I've written and it's something about my life. I get emotional. When your body reacts, it means you're on the right track. And when you're listening to the full song, so grab yourself a notepad, listen to your full song, take notes. And once you have removed all the notes on your notepad, you're done. That's a video for another day, but that's the way to go. So when you're going into a mastering session, you're increasing the level. So what do you need to do in this session to make sure that when you are going forward to mastering your song, what do you need to do to make sure that you're not going to be coming back to your mix? You have the answer? Turn on a limiter on your master bus. When I do mix, I always have a limiter on my master bus, and I turn it on once in a while just to make sure if I'm heading in the right direction. And normally I turn it on, for example, I have mixed the bass. And I want to make sure that the bass, when the volume will be increased, is not going to be boomy or it's going to be muddy and it's not going to be in the way of the actual song, but it will be sitting down at the lower hand nicely and it will be comfortable to listen to. I turn on the limiter, have a listen. Everything's cool, turn it back off, continue to mix. So I'm going to turn on the limiter, and I'm going to turn down the audio so that you don't get your ear blown off. So I got a limiter here on my master channel, right here. It's set up at 5.5. So why is it set up at 5.5? It's because I had measured my integrated LUFS, and my target is normally around -11, -11.2. So when I'm going to turn down this volume, it's at -5. I'm going to bring it to -16. That should be good enough for you not to get your ears blown off. I always put my output ceiling at 1 dB. I've seen a lot of videos where people are putting at 0.1. No, I don't do that. I always put it at -1. And it always served me well. And there you go. I'm going to press play, and you can going to listen to it with the limiter on.
I'm so scared that God may be calling out my name. I almost feel impaired. I'm the only one that I can blame.
I'm going to increase your volume a little bit. So you can definitely hear that I've got no surprises right now. With the limiter on, the bass is sounding very good. The guitars are sounding good. The vocals are not hissing or not having any harshness to them. So technically, that gives me a good feedback that my song is now ready to be mastered if I'm happy with the mix. And I'm happy with the mix. So I'm working on an album, and it's going to be done later on when all the songs are completed and mixed. I'm just going to bring back the volume to where it was. And yeah, it's a third-party plugin. And I do use, from Isotope, the Total Balance Control plugin. And what this gives you, if you choose whatever type of song right here that you have, so let's say country, it will adjust its curve to what they have figured out should be. So I consider this song to be mostly rock. So if I press play and I leave this on, look at this.
I'm so scared.
The objective is to be in the middle or pretty close.
Maybe calling out my name. I almost feel impaired. I'm the only one that I can blame.
And another thing that I want to say, if you look at my master bus, which is right here, I don't have an EQ. You'll see a lot of videos where technicians are using an EQ on the master bus and they do EQ the mix. I don't. My objective is to make every channel, every instrument sound at its best without an EQ. If I can accomplish a mix that sounds balanced, so levels are balanced, the panning is okay, the tones are okay, and I'm doing it without an EQ, I did something right. Do you agree? So when you go to your mastering session, most likely, if you do use an EQ, you'll maybe do like 0.3, 0.2, 0.5 maybe, up and down maybe. Right now, to my ears, I don't even need an EQ. It sounds wonderful. The only thing that I do have, I use tape saturation. I always do. I always start my master bus with tape saturation. I'm using the one from UAD, but you can use whatever one you want. Maybe you have your preference. Maybe you have your preference. I prefer this one. And then I do use a compressor. Not because it compresses a lot, because it doesn't, but it gives a bit of compression. If we press play,
I'm so scared that God may be calling out my name. I almost feel impaired.
and what I like about this compression, then again, I'm using Logic and I'm not using the compressors in Logic. I'm not using the stock one, and they work fine. They work wonderful. But I have adapted this one from Capital Mastering in UAD because, first of all, it's a valve compressor. It gives you a different color to your mix. But what I love about it is the saturator, which is right here. I'll press play and I'll take it out. You should be hearing the difference. I'm going to turn it off.
That God may be calling out my name.
Okay, it's off. Now,
I almost feel impaired. I'm the only one that I can blame. So scared.
anyways, if you like content like this, subscribe to my channel. And I'm posting a video every week, and it's going to be my pleasure to help you get better mixes with my experience. Until then, I wish you a good week, and I'll make a new video next week, and I want you to take care. Bye now.